Got a warm breeze blowing, cool creek flowing, full moon high. Got a good thing going, got some old school tracks tweaking on the speakers. What we got between us is burning like a fever. It's a damn good night.
What is up, Wisconsin? You're listening to Raised in Wisco. I'm your host, Joel Kleefisch. Danielle Fairman is the sidekick with the mostest. She's riding shotgun with me today, and we have an unbelievable show. So excited you're joining us here today. I cannot even, during the hunting season in Wisconsin, goose hunting's open, deer hunting's open, turkey hunting's open. I just got back yesterday. I flew in yesterday.
Yesterday from where?
I flew in from New York hunting the molt migration in New York.
The what?
For the molt migration. I know. So I was just going to try and explain what the molt migration is. The molt migration, so birds, young birds go through a molting phase that they can, when they cannot fly, and that's when they're most susceptible to predators. But then when they get their first wings, it's when they're headed south for the winter.
Sure.
And the upstate New York, a lot of people think of the Big Apple as just this crazy, clamoring, big, huge city with all this going on, and it is. What they don't know is that upstate New York is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. There's a ton of...
You've been to a lot of places.
I've been a lot of places. I've been a lot of places. I'm telling you, upstate New York is beautiful. When you fly into Ogdensburg, New York, and it's 20 minutes from the Canada border.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
a lot of people don't even realize it borders Ontario, Canada. And there's water everywhere. And what is absolutely freakish about it, because, remember the miracle on the Hudson when the plane hit the bird, had the bird strike?
Yeah.
Okay, well, when you're flying into Ogdensburg, because of the molt migration, you got the Adirondack Mountains and you got the ocean. So all the birds pushing from Canada are going through that bottleneck there, which makes it amazing hunting. When you're flying in, you literally see flocks of geese in the air as you're flying in.
Gorgeous.
It's beautiful, but like the hair on my arm is standing up right now. You get amped, but you also are like kind of scared junkless, if that's the word I can use on the radio. It's scary. Bee Frederick, one of the national government affairs guys for Safari Club International, we call it SCI now, First for Hunters, is with us in the studio today. You are joining us on Raised in Wisco. I'm Joel Kleefisch. That's Danielle Fairman. We are on your Civic media radio stations every Saturday at 11. Thank you for taking time out of your day. This show is about showing you what Wisconsin's got to offer in its great outdoors. It's a cooking show because every week we talk about a recipe, and I got an awesome recipe this week I'm excited to talk to you about. It's Italian. I'm just going to say that. And it contains goose that went from the field to the dinner table.
Was this a New York
fresh,
recipe?
Never frozen. It was the New York recipe, all right? Look, if you got do you got a problem with that?
Why, you going to fight me?
What do you got a problem with that? Huh? Jessica, you are right in there. Come on.
Why do you do that well?
All I got to say is...
You got the hand to do the hand motion.
Okay, my family's Italian. I have to have some of... All I got to say is if you're going to make a red sauce, you got to be careful, not too much bay leaf, all right?
We need you to do the recipe in that.
Listen, I'm going to do the recipe in my best New York accent.
Yeah.
What's really weird is that in upstate New York, the accent is like Canadian. And then oh my gosh. And then in addition, it's an area that is filled with Amish. So there are Amish farms and you have to be really careful driving because there's so many Amish buggies.
Oh man.
Yes, and the Amish have a very distinct accent as well. And so you get a mixture of like East Coast, Canada, and Amish accents all together. It's fascinating. I love linguistics.
That just sounds so interesting.
It is super interesting. Bee Frederick.
People are cool.
People are cool. Yes, they are.
People are so awesome, dude.
Speaking of cool people,
totally.
Bee Frederick.
Bee Frederick is cool. And, I've talked to him and we've worked on some legislation together. I want you to know Bee Frederick was integral in helping us get the air gun bill signed into law by Governor Evers across the aisle. We had Republicans and Democrats working together on that. Governor Evers signed it into law. That's going to allow many more hunters to get into hunting sports. Now you can hunt deer, turkeys, waterfowl with air guns. And we had Joel Brown from Serpent Arms on the show. I have one of those air guns at my house. I don't mean to derail what we're talking about, but Bee Frederick was
sure does.
Yes, it's amazing. We're going to shoot it. I mean, producer Jess is going turkey hunting with us.
Yep.
I'm hoping to bring my air gun along on that turkey hunt.
That'd be
I'm
fantastic.
excited about it. But my weekly Wisco is that I literally flew back from New York. We had an amazing time. We cooked fantastic food, served a bunch of people, got to know a bunch of the locals up there, made fresh ingredient dinners from their gardens, which we're going to talk about in our recipe segment. But I got on the plane when we were up at 3:30 in the morning, got to bed at 1, and we had about 2 hours of sleep every night. I was absolutely waxed when I got home, but I love it so much. And I heard that my friend Bee Frederick, who I'd never met before, we worked together over the phone, was in town. So I literally, I didn't even make it home from the airport last night. I landed and drove to Scout Fields to try to put together a goose hunt for Bee this morning. That's weekly
wonderful.
Wisco.
And I'm grateful. It was great. It's a good hunt.
You went. So how was the hunt for you, Bee?
It was good. It was really good.
Did you shoot? Did you get any?
Joel kind of organized. It was a princess hunt for me.
A princess hunt?
What's a princess
You
hunt?
did not
What is a
call it a
princess
princess
hunt?
I strolled up and they're already out there putting decoys in the field. Joel has my gun over there. And I'm like, oh man, I got to do something. Give me a decoy bag.
I think I gave him some like wasabi almonds and said, eat those.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You can eat some like wasabi almonds.
That's awesome.
Did you bring any for me?
They're still in the blind bag for sure.
They are. Well, no, because I ate them this afternoon.
Okay.
Was this your first goose hunt, or have you gone goose hunting before?
I've goose hunted on the Eastern Shore of Maryland a couple times. I'm originally from Alabama. I live in Alabama right now, up here for a conference.
What?
And
all right, then.
I cover the whole eastern half of the country for SCI doing government relations.
Oh, wow.
And so that's how Joel and I know each other, work on various issues here in Madison at the Capitol. Air guns, muzzleloader, sandhill crane, Knowles Nelson stewardship, just access-related stuff, among other things, anything that affects hunting. So that's how Joel and I got connected. And then just obviously in town, and he was kind enough to offer up a goose hunt this morning, and not going to turn that down. And
of course not.
Well, here's the funny thing.
A goose hunt with Joel is golden.
Yeah. Although
not always,
goose.
not always, but it turned out all right. What's funny to me though is I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know how that goes. Like when you invite somebody from out of town, you don't know when the geese are where or if you're going to shoot anything. Goose hunting is one of those things you can show up and you can get a 10-man limit in 10 minutes, or you can sit there the time you had. And B had to be at the Capitol for meetings at 9:30 this morning.
Oh, no.
So we literally had like an hour and a half with him this morning. And I thought, well, I found a few geese at one of the fields we've got permission on. And I invited him with the old, I'll be nice, invite him thinking he's going to be like, I appreciate it. I got meetings. I can't make it. He's like, yeah, when and where?
Yeah,
Good
you're
job.
not going to say
That's
no.
fine.
Wisconsin.
And then I'm like, my house at 5 o'clock in the morning.
No, he goes 5:15, and then he
I
goes,
gotta get up
make
in the
it
morning.
5:30. And I was like, all right, no problem.
Yes. So we showed up, and here's the crazy part. I mean, like, it starts like right in the morning. We're in there, and it's like 5 minutes after shooting time, and all of a sudden we hear. And we're like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And B's like, I think it's ahead. And he couldn't see it. And it was a solo just coming in, like just doing it.
you got
Giving
a
it up.
solo?
Just
A
perfect.
solo.
No pressure, but
Like,
it's perfect.
perfectly.
Solos never come in. At least for me, solos do not come in.
It's hit or miss, but this thing was committed. And it was Rob Brennicky was with us this morning and Matt Carroll's. And I said, all right, B, shoot it. We're just going to put our guns down. And I'm thinking to myself,
Why are you laughing?
Because I was
B?
like, I felt the pressure. I was like, don't screwed up.
Was it the first shot of the day?
No, totally.
Oh yeah,
okay.
First shot
It
of
was
the
like
day.
6:35.
And he couldn't see it coming.
It was so low.
He's tall.
It was so low.
And where he was sitting was like right where the
So you
top
were
of the
looking
blind
in
was
A-frame
in his
or
eyes.
They were in
not,
A-frame.
not graph?
Yeah. And I'm looking. I'm like, it's coming.
This
It's
was
straight,
the same
straight on,
story
straight
with
on, straight
Ellie.
on. Yes, same story with Ellie. She claimed she couldn't see it,
anything.
but she couldn't see it because she
You're
was
tall,
short.
though.
I know. Well, I just couldn't. The bird was low, so I couldn't see through the blind. But I knew I wasn't just gonna like pop up and try and find it. I was like, I'll see it eventually. And
I'm like, there it is, kill it. And he pops up.
And
Bird down.
Nice work.
And then the sound that I always make. It was game over. He got it. He shot it. We high-fived. We took pictures.
That's
and
awesome.
then we
Joel
had a
and
whole,
Matt raced to go get it.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
did
did
they?
race. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of a mistake. I mean, it was like, let's
what was
just
it
say,
like?
well, have you ever seen sumo wrestlers racing anywhere, Danielle?
No.
I mean,
No, I have
let's
not.
just put it this way. I didn't have the giant diaper on and nothing else. I had camo on. I wasn't running
Thank
to the
goodness
middle
for
of the
small
field
favors, eh?
in the giant sumo diaper. I did have camouflage head to toe.
Oh my goodness.
But it was like bum 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 bum. You know, it's two guys, an old guy, an old heavier guy, and a young heavier guy sprinting at full bore. Kind of looks like it's in slow motion. Bum,
Oh, that's
bum,
great.
bum,
Did
bum,
anybody
bum.
fall?
Well, we really
All
wanted
right,
to video
so you throw
it.
a stick out.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
like, watch
yeah,
out for that
exactly.
stick.
He had another retrieve that was really good too.
Oh, thank
you don't
you.
need a
So-
dog when you're hunting with Joel. I mean, there was a long retrieve. The other
So-
one was really long.
I get out there and I'm literally reaching for my neck to make sure my heart's still beating. And then birds are coming. So then they're like, get down, get down.
Lay
so
down.
I'm lying down in the field. The birds passed 20 feet above me. I did not shoot at them. Number one, because I wanted to be safe. Number two, I didn't want to mess up the birds coming
absolutely.
to the blind. But it ended up me running out there 150 yards to get
It
this
was, he
goose.
was way out.
It messed
way out.
everything up.
Oh no.
But it was, I wanted him, I wanted him to have his trophy and
Yeah.
be able, and I have to tell you, I'm waiting for this moment to spring this on you. Your geese, Bee, are now delightful, shredded,
Ooh.
delicious beef style shredded goose right
Wow.
now that you're going to be able to take back with
Oh,
you.
man, look at that.
When are
and
you
eat
leaving?
tonight.
That's Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah,
Thursday.
so
Fly
I've
back
got,
Thursday.
I cooked it. I put it in the Instant Pot today with my personal recipe. I'm going to get him to swing by the house on the way home and take it home with him.
What a treat. Thank you so much.
So I'm pretty
That's
jacked
too
about
kind.
that.
Thank you.
That's my weekly Wisco, Danielle.
Oh, I just went out turkey hunting and I got permission to goose hunt another property.
All
Look
right.
at me go.
I want to hear about that because I want to talk about goose hunting other properties. Man, this show is so awesome. I can't wait to tell you about our recipe and what Bee's got in store to get done for hunters around the state and the nation.
A couple guys in first class on a flight from New York to Los Angeles. Kind of making small talk, killing time, flirting with the flight attendants. 30,000 feet above the Oklahoma world. Just a bunch of scared fields and we fall
Was that you on the plane in New York
That-
watching everybody down there?
That was no, because I had my calls above me in the carry-on port. Up,
It's probably a good thing.
and the last thing I wanted to do was have geese come closer to the airplane while we were flying.
Yes,
Yeah.
I definitely
You
would have
want to
heard
talk?
you.
It kind of scares the crap out of you. Folks, welcome. You're listening to Raised in Wisco. I'm your host, Joel Kleefisch. Danielle Fairman's alongside me. And Bee Frederick, Government Affairs for Safari Club International, SCI for Hunters, is with us. We had an awesome hunt this morning. Want to say thank you so much for listening. I hear from listeners all the time when I'm out, and it's so great to hear listeners say they love the show. They love the serious aspects of it we talk about. They love to learn about hunting, fishing, kayaking, rock climbing, camping, everything you can do in the great outdoors of Wisconsin, and they love to hear about how to eat, how to cook, how to forage, and that's something we make sure to do on every show on Raised in Wisco. And remember, to be a voter in 2024, early voting is already open. Make a plan and vote for whomever you think will represent you the best this and every election. It's your civic duty. Therefore, Civic Media is reminding you to do it. You can listen to Raised in Wisco on every Civic Media station at 11 a.m. Saturdays. We love being a part of your weekend. That is the time most folks get out into the outdoors. If you take time and listen to the show and it helps you enjoy the state of Wisconsin, that brings a real sense of pride to me. I know it does to Danielle.
Absolutely.
Danielle and I have been hunting together for more than a decade now. We've been sidekicks with each other, and we love bringing you Raised in Wisco. Bee Frederick has been talking to us about some of the things that SCI has been working on, the air hunting legislation. Now this is the first season. It's legal to hunt with an air gun for big game and turkeys and small game. The muzzle loader bill, which made it easier for folks to be able to load muzzle loaders from the breech. It's a small thing, but it's big when you talk about hunters who may have dexterity issues, potentially hunters with diverse abilities or disabilities, older folks who may struggle to front-end load a muzzle loader, and it's actually safer. So we did some things really across the aisle that changed kind of the preconceptions that Democrats and Republicans can't get along to pass hunting legislation, didn't we, B?
Yeah, absolutely. That's appreciate that, Joel. I mean, there's a lot of good things there that we worked on last session, and I think we're going to have some stuff teed up for next section as well that is bipartisan. And that's the whole idea, is that, we always say hunting is conservation, and hunting and conservation are nonpartisan issues. That's how they should be. That's how they always have been. Unfortunately, they can get politicized pretty quickly, especially in states where, you may have that partisan divide. Obviously, we're seeing that more and more across the country now. But ideally, whether it's, in D.C. and Congress or in our state capitals across the country, the idea is that these issues that we care about, that we're talking about, just are not partisan issues.
No, I when it comes to hunting, I mean, for example, Danielle, you were kind of non-political for quite a bit of your life. Quite some time. And I mean, I don't know if I'd even call you political at this point. But hunting and fishing and using the outdoors, foraging, those are not limited to Republicans or Democrats. So what's intriguing to me, non-hunters. Now that's what's so great about this show. I absolutely love what we do with this show. Producer Jess is certainly 100% in the category of a non-hunter at this point.
Yep.
But now she's interested in hunting. She's purchased her first ever hunting license.
Nice.
She's going to hunt turkeys with us.
Cannot wait.
We went through all of the iterations of what may or may not happen and whether she feels comfortable actually taking the life of an animal, which is a massive responsibility in conservation and putting food on the table. To me, it's very ethical if you're a meat eater to understand where your food comes from and how it gets from the field to the table. I think that's very important. And I mean, producer Jess, did you ever... And, we started the segment blowing goose calls, unless you thought those were real geese that we said.
Yep,
because my calling's so good.
So genuine.
It's so genuine.
Yeah.
What?
Producer Jess, did you ever in a million years when you were going to school learning how to produce for radio, for media,
Oh, yes,
when you were
I
studying
definitely
media?
did that. I definitely did that.
Okay, that was sarcastic.
It sure was.
A little... Dude, that was a little
Being
sus.
sassy with you.
That was a little sus.
No, no.
I'm going to
Joel.
start using Gen Z sayings again.
Please do not.
Bruh.
No.
Bruh. That's chuggy.
That's chuggy?
Chuggy.
What is that one?
I don't know. Jess, you're a youngster. What does chuggy mean?
Chuggy is my brother-in-law's band.
The band's name is Chuggy.
Chuggy.
Chuggy. And, Jess, did you ever think when you started producing for radio, you'd end up with a show that had so many different things that they talked about that you really had no idea of at the point?
I mean, I sure hoped so.
Yeah, I guess.
I kind of came into this with this idea of I'll be able to meet a whole bunch of different people with a whole lot of different views on what life is and what life should be and can be. And I just came into it with the concept of, people are cool.
Yeah, people are cool. And you've eaten wild game for the first time?
Not for the first time.
Well, one of the few times you ate wild game was we brought pot pies into the studio.
Do it again. It was so good.
I promise you I'm going to bring more wild game in it because this goose that I made, that Bee Frederick shot with me in the blind this morning was absolutely awesome. I want to say this for the 7.2 million listeners. I want to say this. Bee Frederick is an excellent shot.
Oh, look at you
Well,
go.
when they come in ones and twos and no one else shoots, then you have to be. And Joel's calling was so good that they just sucked right in. They were really close.
Yeah.
And MTH's decoy spread was pretty solid.
The spread was solid. I will say this, though. We did have a 2-pack or 3-pack come in that we dropped all 3 of them, 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
And so B and I were on the right side. We both popped up and we both shot at the same one. And my first shot, I shot before him. It hit the goose squarely in the butt.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a butt shot for sure. And then B, of course, shot it.
Clean up.
Played clean up
Good job.
and knocked it right down in front of us. But I'm going to tell you, what did you shoot? Maybe like 5 or 6 shells? Probably 5 or 6 shells.
Yeah.
You legit killed your
Well,
3
again,
goose
y'all were
limit
incredibly
today.
generous to let the non-local guy pull the trigger off.
That's pretty great, though. You had the first goose, too. So
First goose.
that sets the tone for the whole hunt.
Yeah. So it felt good. It was an awesome morning. We had a great time. It was
And Danielle is on the board. She's got some more permissions. I mean, to be honest with you, if Danielle
very
knocks on your
excited.
door, how do you say no? How do you say no to Danielle? I mean, especially if you don't really know her at that point.
Yep. This is very true.
I cannot wait to talk about what we made in New York to eat. It was really New York style, all right? Do you understand what I'm saying? And we're going to talk to Bee Frederick about what's coming up and what you can expect and why it's so important you get to the polls.
Country. She's a hot little number in her pickup truck. Daddy sweet money done jacked it up. She's a party all-nighter from South Carolina, a bad mama jammer from down in Alabama. She's a raging Cajun lunatic from Brunswick, juicy Georgia peach with a thick southern drawl, sexy swinging wall. Brother, she's all country.
Raised in Wisco, your one-stop shop to take the outdoors to the indoors to the kitchen. Man, Wisconsin's got it going on right now.
And Alabama's in the house today.
And Alabama's
That's right.
in the house.
That's right. Not
We got Bee
University
Frederick.
of by any means.
No, you don't like them, do you?
No, I don't. And they just came. They just came and played in Medicine.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last
You
week.
didn't go see them? And
Not. Yeah. I'm an Auburn guy, which we don't have a lot to cheer for at the moment. But
You know, I went to
Fine.
college at Pepperdine University, and they did not have a football team. So now, having 2 daughters who go to Baylor University, now I'm all about
Yeah.
Baylor football
Yeah.
because their program there and their stadium, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I still know very little about football, though.
do you want to know where I went to college?
where?
I did not go to college.
Okay.
I went to the Union.
She went to the
Now
University
a big, bad, heavy
of
equipment
Hard
operator.
Knocks.
There we
Yep.
go. We'll
Yep.
go with that one.
Danielle's a heavy equipment operator by day.
Okay.
Yes, and even before she did that, I still wouldn't have messed with her. I think, I think Danielle would have laid me out flat.
Yeah, don't believe that little laugh.
Yeah, no.
I'm
She-
sweet
she ain't
innocent.
no
What are you
pushover.
talking about?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm buying that.
I'm scared already.
Should be.
Raised in Wisco can be heard on all your Civic media stations Saturdays at 11 o'clock. Make sure that you're going to be a voter this year. You can sign up for early voting, which is now open. Make sure to do that. One of the cool things that we do on the show is talk about current issues and make sure that we help inform those of you out there who are going to the ballot box. I think, and having Bee Frederick here, who does government affairs across the country, really, for SCI, I think I'm going to pick his brain a little bit because I'm interested in knowing. Hunting is one of those things that incorporates, Second Amendment rights because it's done with firearms very often. So you've got Second Amendment rights, but then you've also got conservation rights and issues that clash sometimes back and forth among different political philosophies. How do you come into a state and balance that and present yourself as a nonpartisan organization trying to get work done? Because the reality of it is, no matter who's got the majority or the minority in the houses and legislatures or who's sitting in the governor's office, very little actually gets done if it's all from one party or all from another party.
Sure.
You really need to have buy-in from both sides of the philosophical political spectrum. How do you handle that? And is that one of the reasons you're here in Wisconsin right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so there's a number of ways to look at that. I mean, it is a interesting issue when you look at hunting and conservation kind of on the whole, and the spectrum of people that do it, that enjoy it, the political spectrum, things like that. But one of the main things we want to do when we go to a state is get our members involved. Our members are certainly our best advocates. So we have chapters across the country, really across the world. These are the folks that do vote for these people in the state house or state senate. They know these people. They see them out to dinner. They see them in the grocery store. So when we get our members involved and they show up at the state house and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm Joel Kleefisch from the Wisconsin SCI chapter or whatever it may be, that goes a lot further than me coming in saying, hey, I'm from Alabama. This is, these are important to our members. And that's true. And ideally we can do both and. So we want to communicate to elected officials that, hey, there's people in your backyard that are SCI members, that are, maybe gun owners, that are certainly hunters, that just love to hunt, which is, again, for us, our mission is SCI is first for hunters. We want to be out there on the front lines of defense to protect the freedom to hunt. That's what we do every day. There's species-oriented groups, there's firearms-oriented groups. We're all on the same team, right? We're all pulling in the same direction for hunting and conservation and firearms. Each group may have a little bit different kind of rifle shot approach there. But at the end of the day, we want to be kind of pulling in the same direction. So we had some meetings today that was kind of more of a coalition. There's a conference here in town with a lot of the state agencies, so the DNRs from the different states are here for a conference. And so that's what we're doing. We're interfacing with those, decision makers and decision-making bodies to say, hey, what can we do to ensure kind of the freedom to hunt, protect the freedom to hunt?
Yeah, I think that's incredibly important. One of the things that I find when I encounter a non-hunter or an anti-hunter, I am not a person. I love the fact that people have different philosophies and beliefs. I mean, I love that's why America is the greatest country on earth. We allow the freedom to have opposing beliefs, and we allow forums to debate those beliefs.
Sure.
And what makes me excited about it, and I think I also subscribe to you catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. And that's why I will not automatically dislike somebody if they have views that are opposed to me. But what I find most fascinating is that, look, we've kind of moved away from the vegetarian movement, and now healthy diets include high levels of protein. Protein is incredibly important. There's only one place you really get protein, and that's from animal meat. So if you are a meat eater, I find it very difficult to be opposed to hunting, because hunting is the purest form of bringing protein to the table. You're literally hunting an animal that has lived free its whole life. Now,
right.
I love our farmers and I support them, and I love the beef and chicken from farms is great, but that is an animal that is born to be raised, to be slaughtered so that you can eat your meat. When you are a hunter, I believe there's an ethical charge to it that allows you to understand the gravity of taking another life and putting it on the table for sustenance of you and your family. And I find that when I talk to non-hunters or anti-hunters, very often if you deliver it to them in that approach, they will have not necessarily a change of heart, but a change of the way they look at hunting and see it as a source of your family's protein. My family eats only wild game. That's what we eat. My wife had cancer at age 35. We eat wild game. There's really nothing more organic than that.
Yep.
So for both of you, because both of you understand the whole political stance, with your interactions with people every single day, how often do you guys come across an anti-hunter or people that are completely against it? Because with me working construction, everybody hunts.
You'd say the majority of people who work construction hunt. Why do you think that is?
I have honestly no, because seriously, I have no idea. I have no idea.
I mean, because if you're talking about Wisconsin, and I asked that question because I thought, I mean, I didn't think you'd be able to answer why that is. And I think the bottom line of why it is because in Wisconsin, we have a heritage of hunting. And 600,000 people, the Orange Army enters the woods on the opening of our gun deer season. 600,000
And that's just gun deer. We have
that's more people.
Archery, we have goose, we have turkey, we have everything.
Yes, that's just gun deer. Right. And that's larger than many countries' armies are. And I think that is because it is part of our cultural heritage. And what is so important to me and why we spend so much time talking about wild game recipes and eating what you kill is because I think you really take away the argument of an anti-hunter who is a meat eater if you eat what you kill. And how important do you think that is in the debate? How important do you think that is, Bee, in the debate, that you need to utilize what you kill and not just trophy hunt? Trophy hunting is great, and every animal, to me, is a trophy.
Sure.
Every animal.
Yeah.
And you can utilize the fur and the cape and the
Right.
horns and the teeth and everything. I mean, jewelry and gun slings or briefcases or wallets or clothing. But how important is it that we make sure to utilize the resource?
Yeah, absolutely. You can get pretty in the weeds pretty quickly on some of the numbers as far as the research done on acceptable reasons to hunt. And at the very top, almost every time, is a food source, like the locavore movement, right? Or a sustainable food source. That's almost at the top every time. And at the bottom typically is trophy hunting. And so what we need to do a better job of is communicating why we do what we do, right? As hunters, why are we out there? How do we utilize the resource, to your point? How are we feeding our families with it? The traditional values that come along with that, the family values that come along with that. So that's something that as a hunting community, by and large, across the country, the messaging, whatever that is, those key messages, those conversations are happening all the time with sportsmen's organizations, with state agencies, and other groups saying, hey, how can we do a better job of communicating what we do and why we do it, why it's important to us, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's a very topical conversation, just for generally speaking on the hunting side of things, for sure.
So you guys do see people coming up to you or around you that are anti-hunters?
Oh, for sure.
Often?
For sure. Well, I think, having been a member of the legislature and being in the public eye, as far as being a hunter, I mean, you're going to see photos on my Facebook of me hunting, and you're going to see a picture of me with a dead animal. And for me personally, in my professional career and how people view me, it's important to me that they know I'm utilizing the resource and it's going on my dinner table.
Yeah.
When I hunt in a foreign country, you're not allowed to bring meat from a foreign country back to the United States. The FDA prohibits it. I think that's ridiculous and stupid, but I 100% make a point to eat that animal in that country. Now, I'm going to also say something, and I hope it doesn't come across as controversial. I have absolutely zero problem with trophies. I think trophies are unbelievable. They're wonderful, beautiful decor for houses. I have clothing that I wear. I have a black bear coat. My wallet in my pocket
ever seen that?
is alligator skin. I have alligator skin boots that I wear all the time. I have, gunslings, briefcases. My wife's purse is made out of animal skin. When you go to a store and you buy leather, guess what? That's cow skin that you're buying. So it's always been really important for me to show people that I'm utilizing the resource, because I think if you do it strictly for trophy purposes, and this gets into a difficult debate in other countries. When I hunt Africa, in Africa, they utilize the meat from what we kill. We do eat it. We are able to eat it, but then the majority of it goes to the tribes in the area where we hunt. So it's not only a sustaining food source, the money that is spent on the licenses goes to help bring clean water and upgrade water systems in foreign countries very often. So most of all, it's kind of education. What's super exciting to me is that we have never lived in a better time to make wild game taste fantastic. We've got the Instant Pot. We've got air fryers. We've got recipes. Sous vide. Very good.
That's a great thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we've got spices and rubs. And I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many times someone has looked me in the eye and said, ugh, wild goose is disgusting. And then I will make for them and I'll say, hey, have this shredded beef sandwich or shredded beef Michoacan style street taco. Oh man, this is the best shredded beef I've ever eaten. I say, well, great, because it's sky carp. You know, you know,
sky carp.
Sky carp.
I've never heard that. Actually,
that's a good one. Sky carp.
That was good.
And I mean, I joke about it, but there are so many. The Provider cookbook, the Provider itself. I work for the Fowl Life under that umbrella as the Provider. Go on the Provider website. You'll get 8,000 ideas how to make your game taste amazing. And now that's all we eat at home, and we don't think twice about it. We really don't think twice about it. And if you're not a hunter and you're buying farm, raised beef and everything, that's wonderful too. I love a delicious ribeye steak at the Tornado Room in Madison. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But I think what we're seeing, Bee, and I want to talk to you about this, what we're seeing right now is philosophies on the right bending the corner and the left bending the corner and meeting in the middle, kind of in the area of conservation and clean eating and organic eating. Are you seeing that on a national level when you're talking about legislating in these different states?
Yeah, a little bit. I think you mentioned the word education earlier, and I think that's a big word, whether it's the food movement, or you mentioned Africa, and obviously Safari Club International, that's a focus for us. That's how we got started over 50 years ago and what we do. But at the end of the day, we're advocating for the freedom to hunt over there as well. And so educating folks on, hey, the importance of hunting in Africa, what it does for local communities over there, how it's sustainable use in Africa, how it's sustainable use here. So yeah, at the end of the day, the education piece is a primary issue.
Yes.
Irrespective of if it's food or if it's just in general.
And that is up to us as hunters to be beacons of that education. Invite people to talk to you about it. Don't shun somebody if they don't agree with you right away. Try to explain why we do what we do. I can't wait to continue that discussion and tell you exactly how to make the most delicious lasagna from scratch. Don't be afraid of the sauce. Civic Media is your place to listen to Raised in Wisco in 13 markets throughout the great state of Wisconsin. I'm Joel Kleefisch. Danielle Fairman and I get to co-host this awesome show about the greatest things about the outdoors of Wisconsin, about food. Bee Frederick, one of the National Government Affairs guys for SCI, is in the studio with us. We had a really fascinating conversation about hunting, about what it means to different people of different philosophies, about crossing the aisle, about making sure that we can ensure the resource for generations to come. And I don't want to be remiss, it is also about the rights of people to exercise their ability to hunt and bring food from the field to the table in this country and other countries. And it doesn't go without saying, because I don't think a lot of people realize how much the American hunter who hunts abroad ends up helping the cultures and the economies of those countries. I hunt South Africa, and the meat goes to local tribes. When you shoot a gemsbok or you shoot, a large animal, there's hundreds of pounds of meat that's literally going into the food sources of the tribes. And the money that is spent there in South Africa that is attached to hunting funding, hunting expenditure, ends up helping with clean water facilities and really some very humanitarian things.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, you can really extrapolate that anywhere, right? So, I mean, I'm here for a conference. I bought a license. I'm buying gas. I'm buying food here. So it could be local here in our backyard where hunting provides an economic impact to the local landscape, or it could be abroad. It could be in Europe. It could be in South Africa, wherever. But hunting certainly provides that economic impact just from being there, the tourism, for lack of a better word, tourism, ecotourism dollars that's provided there. And then what you mentioned, kind of the other benefits of, for their bushmeat there for those people or other places. But yeah, there's so many benefits to the hunting community, what we do. And again, we got to tell our story better about what we do and the importance of that. But yeah, you can see that, wherever you hunt, you're providing a benefit by being there, utilizing the resource, but also providing that impact.
I think we're getting better at telling our story.
I think
absolutely. Shows like this help tell the story. I think shows like this also bring folks from different belief systems together, which is very important, as well. And Bee Frederick got to be in the blind with me today. We shot some geese. We cooked them up. And I want to tell you our recipe. But before I leave that real quick, I want to talk. The governor's administration has teamed up with the Fowl Life, and the Department of Tourism and Travel Wisconsin is now a sponsor of the Fowl Life.
Awesome.
So it shows that the leading Democrat in the state gets it as to how important, the hunting community is. And so they're teamed up with us. So when we're doing things in Wisconsin and cooking, and we're doing podcasts and television shows and talking about reasons to come and travel Wisconsin, it is something that definitely affects everybody. And it is one thing we want here, because the money that comes here from other states and other countries to hunt in Wisconsin is an economic driver in this state. And I was going to make a segue from economic driver to food. There really isn't one. It's just me, and food is my favorite dish. So I'm just going to say, now it's time to talk about food. We spent the weekend. Smooth. You're listening to Smooth Jazz. I was singing.
He's
Producer
got quite
Jess,
the voice on him.
I was singing some smooth jams over the break.
Some smooth jams,
Smooth jams, smooth goose calling. Got it all.
Joel.
So the smooth recipe I want to talk about is,
Ooh.
she's like, get to the recipe.
She got that on
one of the
radio.
number one thing, we were in New York.
Sidetrack.
And we made goose lasagna. I mean, you're in New York, right? You got to make a good lasagna. You got to make some pasta. You got to make something that's going to fill everybody's belly, all right? Hey, eat a little more. What are you talking about? What's your problem, huh? You got a problem with that? Come on. So, for sure, we made goose lasagna. And one of the things everybody's always afraid of is sauce. So we went to this place. We actually had lunch at a place.
Who is afraid of sauce?
Well, to make sauce. Afraid of making sauce. Not like afraid like, there's
Too
sauce
much
under my
sauce.
bed. No, I can't fall asleep. There's sauce under my bed. No, not afraid to make sauce. People are afraid to make it because it's kind of it's intimidating. So I want to tell you what this fascinating thing happened, and this just goes to the generosity of the human spirit. We're at a place called the Turner Inn, and we have lunch there. We get talking to the bartender in there, and she, we're joking around with her because if you can imagine, Chad and I have rather large personalities. I mean, we're like, look, we're like garlic, all right? You want it in your kitchen or you don't want it anywhere around the house, all right? So we talked to this woman, and she says, well, what are you guys going to make? You're going to do a recipe for the show, right? And I just said, well, we're in New York. We got to make goose lasagna, right? So she says, well, I grow tomatoes in my backyard, and I grow herbs and spices and garlic. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. She gave us bags of tomato sauce, which was just pureed tomatoes. She gave us cloves, like bulbs of garlic, and she gave us some rosemary, thyme.
Aww.
And I'm going to tell you something. It's this easy. We just took the goose, we put it in the crock pot for 10 hours till it fell apart with the standard recipe: water, oil, lemon juice, garlic, and salt, basically seasonings. And then we took the sauce and we put it on simmer. And all you have to do to make a good red sauce is just let tomato sauce simmer. It will get that rich flavor over time. Then you just add to it flavors as you go. Add salt. Added a little sugar, took away a little of the acidity, turned out perfect. The goose meat was shredded. We sauteed it in a pan, give it a little crispy edge. We flash fried it a little bit. And we made a 9-layer lasagna, a 9-layer Italian goose lasagna,
I'm
oregano,
a sucker for lasagna.
fresh garlic, fresh basil, fresh thyme. You just keep adding to that sauce. You can correct sauce as it cooks. That's the beauty of it. Don't worry about if it doesn't taste right. Figure out what it's missing and keep adding as you go. And we turned out with a 9-layer lasagna.
Oh, yum.
Get out of here. What are you talking about? It was delicious. Try it at home. Don't be afraid. Put that wild game in your recipes. Folks, we love you listening to Raised in Wisco on all your Civic media stations. Can't wait to talk to you next week. See you.